Hey, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. We're going to do one cast today. It's the 12th of September. This is Monday. And they started running water about 1 o'clock or so. And they kicked it up to 3 units. 3 units worth 165, over 165 megawatts. Almost got up to 709. When they run water, the Corps has to inject liquid oxygen into the turbines to keep the oxygen up to where the fish survive, because the raw water coming from Table Rock right now is virtually zero. It's down below 1. Maybe it's below 1. 9 to 12 parts is really good. 6 parts is the minimum in Missouri, and they try to keep it above about 4.5, 5. So they have to inject a lot of liquid oxygen into those turbines for this much water to keep that oxygen up. So they pass that on to the consumer. I guess it's still cheaper than coal, or I don't know how that works, but anyhow, there's a lot of water for the fall. They have restrictions on themselves how much water they can run because of the water quality. But this happens every fall. It's just part of being a tailwater. Our fishing today was pretty good. This morning before the water came on, they caught quite a few off the dock early, and but when the water really started running, Dwayne and I went up by boat below the dam and threw these bait. They're called stick baits. It's called a mega bass, 110+1. It's an Ozark shad. And we threw those along the banks on both sides all the way down to Lookout, and then we fished from Lookout. We fished the bluff. From Lookout down to the Narrows. And I don't know what the count was. I think I caught maybe four rainbows. I had 4 or 5 others hooked. Nothing real big. Dwayne got a couple of real nice browns. And he caught a small brown and a couple of small rainbows and a smallmouth bass. So we had a fair amount of action on those, which is not uncommon when I run in water to throw those big things. Gonna try throwing an 1/8 ounce. This is a gray and black jig with a black head, 2-pound line. Kind of looks like my beard. Of course, mine has a lot more white in it. Water is starting to slow down. It's dropped a little bit. It's still moving pretty good. There was a big brown brought in midday. It was afternoon, shortly afternoon. Brett Rader, who's a guide, his client caught a 24.86 pound brown, 34 inches long, 23-inch girth. This thing was huge, and he caught it on a little tiny jig. So it's a micro jig that Brett ties, and caught it on 6X or 2-pound line, and we weighed it and measured it, and he went back up to Lookout to release it, and it did not make it. Kind of goes to what I said about the oxygen levels in the water is not ideal, and a fish like that, it fights hard, and you can literally fight a fish to death in these conditions. But the fish was pretty strong when it was here, and but it's hard. It's very hard. The bigger the fish, the harder it is to keep it alive and to revive it and watch it swim off and it actually live. So the fish did not make it, but it's still a wonderful fish. No fish in one cast. It also, I know some people remember what I said about triploids. That's a brown that's, they actually heat the eggs right after fertilization, and it makes those fish sterile. And the idea is that those fish won't go through the spawning process, which stunts their growth. You know, they spend all the energy swimming upstream and going through the motions of spawning, which they don't spawn successfully. So those fish don't go through the motions, so they keep feeding and growing and through that spawning season, so they grow faster. Well, this fish, a little less than 25 pounds, little moss maybe. It was stocked in 2011. That makes that fish 6 years old. That is amazing. There's just a small percentage of the browns in here that are triploids, and they're marked by clipping their adipose fin, which is kind of a knobby fin on the back of its tail, top back. Ooh, there's a fish out there mentioned. And that fish's fin was clipped. So it was pretty cool to know a fish that's 6 years old is just 5 pounds short of a state record. Here comes Megan and Jimmy and the Cummings and the boys. Give you a shot of them coming in. Huh?
We could have timed that perfect.
Don't jump in.
Are we ready yet?
Don't jump in.
Oh, he'd like to. Oh, he's tried several times.